fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The air in the crypt was thick with the scent of damp earth and old parchment. I traced my fingers along the crumbling stone walls, my heart racing as I descended deeper into the forgotten tomb. This was it, the final resting place of the great necromancer Alaric the Wise. My mentor had spoken of this place in hushed tones, warning me that the secrets within were not for the faint of heart. But I wasn't like those other necromancers, the ones who raised mindless corpses and reveled in darkness. No, I followed the true teachings, the ones that honored the lingering spirits, forming sacred contracts so they could once again walk among the living and show their true power to the world. The iron door groaned as I pushed it open, revealing a chamber bathed in an eerie blue glow. 3 sarcophagi stood in a triangle, their surfaces etched with intricate runes that seemed to pulse with ancient energy. I approached the central one, my hands trembling as I placed them on the cold stone lid. "Alaric," I whispered, "I've come to fulfill our covenant, to help you and your companions reclaim what was lost." The runes flared brighter and the lid began to shift. I stumbled back as it slid aside, revealing the mummified form of a man who had been dead for centuries. But his eyes, those eyes, glowed with an otherworldly light as they fixed on me. "You have done well to find us," his voice echoed in my mind, ancient and powerful. "But are you prepared for what comes next?" Before I could answer, the other 2 sarcophagi opened with a resounding crack. 2 more figures sat up, their forms less decayed than Alaric's, as if they had been preserved by some greater magic. "This is Darius," Alaric gestured to the man on his left, tall and broad-shouldered with hair like spun gold. "And this is Kale," he indicated the figure on his right, lean and angular with eyes that burned like embers. "Together we were the triumvirate of souls, and together we shall rise again." I swallowed hard, suddenly aware of how small and fragile I must seem before these ancient beings. But I held my ground, meeting each of their gazes in turn. "I am ready," I said firmly. "I've studied your teachings, I know the rituals, I can help you reclaim your power." Darius stepped forward first, his movements fluid and graceful despite the centuries of stillness. He circled me slowly, his gaze traveling over my form with an intensity that made my skin prickle. "You are brave," he murmured, his voice like honey and smoke, "but bravery alone will not be enough. You must be willing to give yourself completely to our cause." Kale approached from the other side, his presence crackling with barely contained energy. Unlike Darius's smooth appraisal, his examination was sharp and probing, as if he could see straight through to my very soul. "And you must understand the cost," he warned. "To form a true bond with us is to forever alter the course of your existence. There can be no turning back once the ritual begins." I felt trapped between them, their ancient power washing over me like a tidal wave. Part of me wanted to flee, to run back to the surface and forget I'd ever found this place. But another part, the part that had always felt different, always known there was something more to this world than what most people saw, urged me to stay. "I understand," I said softly, lifting my chin. "I'm willing to pay whatever price is necessary." Alaric's mummified lips curved into a smile that was more felt than seen. He raised a hand, and 3 crystals materialized in the air before him, 1 blue, 1 gold, 1 red. They began to orbit slowly, their light intensifying until it was almost blinding. "Then let us begin the rite of binding," he intoned. "Darius, Kale, prepare the vessel." The 2 men moved to flank me, their hands coming to rest on my shoulders. Even through my robes, I could feel the heat of their touch, the ancient power that thrummed just beneath their skin. "Repeat after me," Alaric instructed, his voice taking on a rhythmic quality. "I offer my body, my mind, and my soul as a conduit for your return." I took a shaky breath and began to speak the words, feeling them resonate through my very being. As I chanted, the crystals descended, hovering just above my head. The blue one touched my crown first, sending a shock of pure energy through me that made me gasp. Then the gold one pressed against my forehead, and I felt my thoughts begin to expand, stretching beyond the confines of my mortal mind. Finally, the red crystal settled over my heart, and a wave of heat and desire unlike anything I'd ever known flooded through my body. Darius's hand slid down my arms, his touch both soothing and electrifying. Kale's fingers found the fastenings of my robes, undoing them with practiced ease until the fabric fell away, leaving me exposed to their ancient gazes. "You are ours now," Darius whispered in my ear, his breath hot against my skin, in body and in spirit. Kale's hands cupped my breasts, his thumbs brushing over my nipples until they hardened beneath his touch. I arched into him, a moan escaping my lips as pleasure radiated through me. "The ritual requires complete surrender," Alaric's voice echoed in my mind. "You must open yourself to us fully, without reservation or fear." I nodded, my thoughts growing hazy as Darius's lips found the sensitive skin of my neck, his teeth grazing lightly. Kale's hands continued their exploration, one sliding down to cup me between my legs, his fingers finding the slick heat that was building there. "You feel it, don't you?" Darius murmured. "The power that flows between us, the connection that is forming." I could only whimper in response, my body moving instinctively against theirs as they touched me, tasted me, claimed me. The crystals above us pulsed in time with my racing heart, their light filling the chamber with an otherworldly glow. "This is only the beginning," Alaric's voice promised. "Once the bond is complete, you will be able to channel our power to help us reshape this world according to our true vision." Darius's hands gripped my hips, turning me to face him. His eyes, now glowing with that same blue light as the crystal, held mine captive as he lowered his mouth to mine. The kiss was electric, sending sparks of energy racing through my veins. Kale pressed against my back, his hardness evident as he ground against me, his hands roaming over my trembling form. "Submit to us," Darius commanded against my lips. "Let us fill you, claim you, make you ours in every way." I had no will to resist, even if I'd wanted to. My body belonged to them now, and I reveled in the surrender. Kale lifted me effortlessly, positioning me over Darius's waiting flesh. The moment he entered me, I cried out, the sensation of being filled by his ancient power overwhelming in its intensity. Darius began to move, his thrusts deep and sure as Kale held me in place. The crystals above us spun faster, their light intensifying until the entire chamber was bathed in a kaleidoscope of colors. I could feel something shifting inside me, some fundamental change taking place as their energies merged with my own. "More," I gasped, not even sure if the word was my own or planted by their influence. "I need more." Kale chuckled darkly, his hands tightening on my hips. "As you wish, little vessel." With a strength that belied his lean frame, he lifted me off Darius and positioned me on all fours. I felt him press against my other entrance, the pressure building until he pushed inside, stretching and filling me in ways I'd never imagined possible. The sensation was intense, bordering on painful, but as they found a rhythm, Darius thrusting into my front while Kale claimed my back, the pain transformed into something else entirely, something transcendent. I was aware of Alaric watching us, his mummified form still seated in his sarcophagus, but his eyes burning with an unholy light. I could feel his power building, could sense that he was drawing energy from our joining, strengthening himself for what was to come. The pleasure built and built until I was sure I would shatter from it, my entire being focused on the joining of our bodies and the merging of our spirits. When my release finally came, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced, a cataclysmic explosion of energy that seemed to light up the very fabric of reality. I screamed, my voice echoing off the stone walls as wave after wave of ecstasy crashed over me. Darius and Kale groaned in unison, their own releases triggering a feedback loop of power that sent me spiraling into a state of pure bliss. As we collapsed together on the cold stone floor, I felt the crystals above us pulse one final time before winking out. The chamber fell silent except for our ragged breathing, the air heavy with the scent of sex and ancient magic. "You have done well," Alaric's voice echoed in my mind, weaker now but still resonant with power. "The bond is formed, we are one." I tried to sit up to look at my companions, but my body felt heavy and unresponsive. Darius's arms tightened around me, holding me close as Kale spooned against my back. "Rest now," Darius murmured, his breath warm against my ear. "The hardest part is over. In the days to come, we will teach you to harness the power you've awakened, to become the bridge between our world and yours." I wanted to ask what that meant, what changes I would undergo, what price I might still have to pay. But exhaustion pulled at me, dragging me down into a deep and dreamless sleep. As consciousness faded, I caught one last glimpse of Alaric's mummified face, his eyes now closed in what looked like peaceful slumber. But I could feel his presence in my mind, a a constant hum of ancient power that promised both wonders and terrors yet to come. I had opened the door, had invited these beings back into the world. Now, I could only wait and see what new reality would emerge from our joining, and what role I would play in the rebirth of true necromantic power.